Oh, he was after the book like what?
She's not sure right now,
Oh, she's,
so I'm not thinking.
this list.
Me too.
I'm not sure.
2010.
You should have just stopped him, maybe should have been home.
Yeah,
I told him that you didn't stay for years. That's what. Yeah. I didn't say he didn't do that. But I think there was a big variance. He used to.
Let me go to the one line and you want to not see it.
call this public hearing to order on March 24th, 2025. 7:10 p.m. That's for zoning bylaw amendment. This is us, we're gonna have supporting documentation for bylaw 20442025 being a bylaw of the city of Thompson to amend bylaw 1891-2012 as amended that will amend figure 75 permitted conditional uses in the UH zone by adding youth placement facility as a conditional use in urban hold zone, and will amend section 6.1 use class definitions to include the following definition of youth placement facility. Go to administration. I see we have the public hearing notice was filed and the bylaws here. Okay, Law.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, so this is the public hearing that's required under regulation for this zoning bylaw amendment. The zoning bylaw amendment is in place to add, as you mentioned, add a new use class definition of the urban hold zone. The urban hold zone, just for information purposes, is essentially those lands north of the river, so across the bridge, including pretty much all of it except the golf course property and the two rural large lot development sites. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment that will impact the whole zone. As mentioned, it's a conditional use, so therefore anybody that wants to apply this to their property would need to put forward a conditional use application.
Thank you. Administration, anything else, Anthony?
No. Or this is the public hearing, I suppose. It's now the opportunity for those who'd like to step forward and speak in favor of this, to make their presentations to council. And then followed by that would be those who would like to object. They would then come forward and make their objections. Those would be recorded.
Okay, and I asked that when you come forward, there's a pen and paper there, please sign your name. And put if you're in favor or opposed to it. So right now, we're going to receive presentations in favor of the bylaw change. Anyone that wants to make presentation, please come up to the front desk.
Hello, everybody. I make me sign first. My name is Kelvin Linkslake. I'm a resident of Thompson. I'm also the executive director for Manitoba Kuwait Now Yogi Maganak. MKO is in full support of this bylaw, of this amendment, the zoning rather. Reason being is that MKO has particular interest in having a youth placement facility at what used to be the River Lodge and the Lodge. I really do believe that it's going to benefit the community. Reason being is that one thing that I always saw as a kid is that we're the hub of the North. In order to be the hub of the North, we need services. We need to be able to be that hub, provide services, be able to give people access to things. And I really do believe that this youth healing lodge will provide, will be part of that hub. We'll be able to provide youth with support, with healing. Kids have been coming to this community to, whether they're within a First Nation or whether they're living in Thompson or where they live by, whether it's in a house or a residence or whether they're a child in care. It's not anything that's new for a child to be coming and finishing out their sentence. When they've been approved to, like within a home or within their own home or within a family's home. It's been happening over the years. This lodge is going to give them further support. It's going to provide them with opportunities for healing. There's still gonna be that connection to the province and to their worker and to their probation officer. However, there'll be opportunity, it'll be a 10-bed facility. We'll provide, 10 youth at a time. Also, to kids who are finishing out their sentence within Thompson, within a home, they'll also be able to access the services. So whether that's working with an elder, working with, coming and participating in activities, healing activities. So MKO fully supports, this change in the zoning. And I do have a package to hand out for you if you'd like to see it. And, I do think it'll benefit Thompson. It's going to help provide that service and help provide our youth something that's been missing, something for Indigenous people, returning back to the land, returning back to our culture. It's a huge step and it's a big part of that. So MKO fully supports it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other presentations in favor of this bylaw change? Any presentations in favor of the bylaw change? Final call, any other presentations in favor of the bylaw change? Seeing none, I'll now ask if there's any presentations opposed to the bylaw change. Come up, state your name and.
Yes, sorry, this is very binary. I need another category, which is a concern. Do you have a moment for that, or is it like opposed? Okay, well, okay, concern would be, okay, so it's not what it seems. So I am in full support of the presentation made by MKO, absolutely, because I do believe the same that Thompson being the service hub for the North, we need those services, full belief in restorative justice and also the need for youth healing in the community. I just have, I suppose, a concern regarding the notion of like holistic planning for the city itself. So you mentioned that the urban holding zone is quite a large series of tracts of land, I suppose, in that area north of the bridge. And so my question is just sort of my concern, I guess, is just around the question of the wholesale change of a bylaw, even if it does have a kind of conditional clause to it, versus a parcel by parcel or however the properties are divided, so that maybe there can be more of a sense going forward of where such facilities should be best placed. So for example, the property named by MKO, perfect, absolutely, right? But then the question is after that, with regard to the rest of that zone, would it continue to be appropriate to erect more and different facilities of different types, but fitting within that particular amendment? If you catch my.
So somebody would, like, if you wanted to do something outside the urban hold bylaw, the way it is, you would have to come before us as council, as MKO has just done, and say what you would like to do in that area.
Right.
Maybe Lau could explain a little bit better.
Yeah, so if I understand what you're saying is,
I might not be articulating it very well.
No, I think I understand. So what you're saying is how it would apply to the rest of the parcels of land in the zone per se.
Sure, yeah.
So essentially the way that this bylaw amendment is written, I mean, let's back up. In the zoning bylaw, a use category can have two applications in the zone. It can either be permitted or it can be conditional. If you have a permitted property use in any given zone, you can go ahead and do whatever you want with that property use in that zone at any given time. You don't have to, as long as you follow the rules and stay within the box, you're fine. If it is a conditional use within the zone, which this one is, any property holder specific to the property would have to apply for a conditional use through the city. And we would have to do basically the same thing again with that property. It would go to a public hearing, similar to this, and then it would go to a board of council.
Okay.
So what we're doing tonight doesn't give a carte blanche approval for this in the entire zone
Okay,
because it's listed as a conditional use.
so it's conditional for this particular property, that's. the
Right now, we're
application.
just doing the zone. And at a later date, they're gonna have to come back and apply for the conditional use.
Oh, I see, okay, so in other words, this is expanding the different types of uses for that zone, for which you would need to then subsequently apply.
Correct.
Okay.
So
okay,
this is
yeah.
the first step of two.
Yeah.
So if council approves this zoning bylaw amendment tonight,
Mhm.
the applicant,
Mhm.
MKO, will have to come forward with a conditional use application.
Mhm.
We would have to follow the stipulations of the planning act regarding public notice. We have to submit public notice. There's to be a 14-day period. The property gets signed. Neighboring properties get notified. There'll be posting. There'll be another public hearing like this. Then council will vote on that conditional use specific to that parcel of land.
Right,
So
okay,
if somebody else wanna do it on another parcel of land up there,
They would have-
they would also have to come through the conditional use application.
okay, now it's clear. Okay, thank you so much. I hope I haven't wasted anyone's
No,
time with that question.
Could we have your name though?
Yes,
Before
of
I
course,
sign your
yes,
name?
of course, yes. And thank you for answering, yeah, because it is a concern when you look around the city. I think more holistic kind of planning needs to happen for, for everybody to, go forward.
So we've actually just started up, where we're doing work on our planning district and the bylaw planning and that. We actually had an initial meeting just over a week ago. And there will be another one approximately the end of May that I would suggest you come to. That's where we're asking for all citizens' input into any changes in the bylaw, how you want to see land developed in the future and that. So if you definitely watch our site and the radio and our
Okay.
posters on that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other presentations opposed to this development? Third and final call. Any other presentations opposed to this development? Thank you. Seeing none. Call for adjournment. Councillor or Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Councillor Saw, all in favor?
Aye.
Seems like we've lost the sound.
We can't hear you.
I'm gonna have to log off and try logging back in and see if that makes a difference, but there's no reason that sound isn't coming through.
We can hear you now. Can hear you now.
Yeah, it's back.
Back.
Okay.
Literally touched nothing.
Goblins.
It's ghosts in the room. Anyway, I would like to recognize we're Treaty 5 territory, ancestral land in Nissisquoi Cree Nation and homeland to the Métis. Next, I'd like to call for an approval of the agenda. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Saw, all those in favor? Carried. Let's go to community comments and feedback. Second call, community comments and feedback.
Ron Matachuk, 20 Ave Street. I see on the agenda you have a resolution to approve a leave. I was wondering, is that leave with pay or without pay?
Anthony?
Typically, council, when they've been approving leaves, have been with pay.
So this will be just the same old typical? Is that what you're saying?
We haven't received any other direction, so that would be the same.
Okay, just a reminder, I did ask the question a few weeks back and there's not an abundance of money in this room, so keep that in mind, people.
Thank you. Any other community comments or feedback? Seeing none. Move on to adoption of minutes. 5.1 is regular meeting of council, March the 10th, 2000. Resolution 2025-034, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held in council chamber, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba on Monday, March 10th, be adopted as circulated. Administration.
Nothing further.
Councillor, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick.
Nothing further.
Any other comments from councillors? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Five point two is adoption minutes for committee of the whole, March 17th, 2025. Resolution 2025-035, moved by Councillor Saw, seconded by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of council held in council chamber, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba on Monday, March 17th, 2025 be adopted as circulated. Administration.
Nothing further.
Councillor Saw?
No.
Other councillors, questions? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Next, we're going to, sorry. Apologies for that. I'm swear it didn't touch anything. Anyway, resolution 6.1 is a resolution to authorize administration to enter into the Manitoba Water and Services Board amendment to phase 2 and 5 cost sharing agreement for ISIC project Thompson Water and Wastewater Main Renewal. Administration.
Yeah, so good evening. This is an amended,
I'm sorry, I forgot to read the resolution. Threw me off. Resolution 2025-036, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Saw. Whereas on October 24, 2022, Council passed resolution 2022-189, authorizing administration to enter into the cost sharing agreement with Manitoba Water Services Board for the water and sewer renewal, ISIP Phase 2 and 3. And whereas on June 11, 2024, council passed resolution number 2024-082 authorizing administration to enter into the amended agreement with the Manitoba Water Services Board for Phase 2 to 4 of the water and wastewater main renewal project. And whereas the Manitoba Water Services Board has submitted a revised cost-sharing agreement, adding Phase 5 to the agreement. Phase 5 includes Princeton Drive, Station Road, and Stanford Bay. Now therefore be it resolved that council authorize administration to enter into the amended agreement with Manitoba Water Services Board for phases 2 to 5 of the water and wastewater main renewal project. But
Yeah, so good evening. So this is an amended cost sharing agreement with Water Services Board. Essentially, they're adding the phase 5 work, which is an estimated price of 10.83 million, bringing the total cost sharing up to 32.08. The 10.83 million under the ISIP formula, the city is responsible for 26.67% of that, which would be an economic impact to us of 2.88 million. In discussions with our CFO, there is adequate funds in the utility account, so this money would be taken from the utility account to cover our portion of the project.
thank you. Any other questions? Actually, we'll go to Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Do you have any comments?
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I'm in agreement with this, we need to get the work done and the partnering with the Water Services Board just makes good sense.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? Okay, definitely, I agree that we've been moving along at a good speed on these projects, so it's nice to see it getting done. So we'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Six point two is a resolution authorizing administration to enter into the amending agreement for the Reaching Home contract for administrative services. Resolution 2025-037 moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Chung. Be it resolved that council authorize administration to enter into an amending agreement for Reaching Home contract with Word Tapestries. For the administration.
So Reaching Home is a federal program that oversees or provides funding towards projects that support those experiencing homelessness or lack of housing. To run the program, it requires what's called a community entity coordinator. And that's the person who oversees the money and the coordination of the funds. In the past, the city has engaged a company called Word Tapestries. This would be up for the 4th amendment or the 4th renewal of the contract. All the changes to the agreement have been attached for council's review and were reviewed last week at the committee of the whole. And looking for a resolution to approve this contract this evening.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick is the mover. Do you have any comments?
Nothing further.
Do I have any comments from other councillors? Councillor Saul.
Yeah, thank you. Just part to the discussion has had, I'd like to make an amendment. Nothing against the actual contract from what I've heard over the years. The contract has been very good at fulfilling the agreement. The fact that we're extending this by 3 more years now, when I was going through the changes, I noticed that we didn't have a standard. I would think it's the standard clause where if council ever decides to change direction in regards to how they want to manage the Reaching Home funds, there doesn't seem to be a clause in there that allows us to do that in regards to if we want to bring it back in-house or if we want to have some changes. I know that the standard clause and city manager can correct you on this, but every agreement that's under reaching home with service providers has a 30-day clause in it. If for whatever reason the city decides to want to bring that back in-house, I'm thinking that not the same 30 days, but perhaps a 90-day clause that down the road, if we decide to go in another direction. What we're seeing with the homeless issue is a growing issue. I cannot say a year from now or 2 years from now, council may want to look at a different approach. I'm not saying that will happen, but I believe that we should make sure we maximize council's flexibility if they do wish to have that happen down the road. So once again, it's not anything against the actual contractor. I just want to make sure that the agreement we have gives council maximum flexibility. So I would propose having, say, a 90-day clause in there to allow if, as I said, if we want to change course or make some changes, we're allowed to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
So modification of the resolution at this point would require an amending motion, I believe, right? So someone would have to make the motion, it'd have to be seconded. Then we'll vote on the amendment.
So I'll make the motion for a 90-day clause.
Second.
Okay, now I have to deal with, yeah, Councillor Saw's amended motion first, right? So we're just typing that. So how would it read? Do you have how you would want the
Oh, I would just say to allow for a 90-day notice if council or the.
I was gonna say, would that be either way, 90 days?
Exactly, either way, because that provides the contractor flexibility as well. Yeah.
Here, you need a seconder.
Councillor Wong, you're seconding?
Yes.
All those in favor of amending the
You need to
motion?
debate it.
Pardon?
You need to debate the
Oh,
amendment.
debate, okay. Councillor Oberdorfer?
I didn't realize I had my hand up, so I was just going to say that I support the amendment. And I was planning to second it, but since Councillor Wong did that, I'll just say that I'm in support. Thank you.
Any, Councillor Wong, did you want to speak now?
Sure, why not? I think it's a good amendment. I'm not necessary to say that we need to look into that direction, but it just gives us some leeway to if something that we see is not fit. And if we have a backup that allow us to do that. But if the contract do not have that clause, like I would say it's a termination clause, right? That's what we try to accomplish. I think it's a good way to look at the picture of this kind of flow through funding. But again, I'm not necessarily saying this person right now is not doing a good job. It's just the way that the proper way of doing the business should have that clause. It doesn't matter. Always have that in the agreement. So I fully support that amendment. How the wording will be, I think, it's up to administration to give us some sort of type out and we can read it again. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to the amended motion?
So the new, the amending motion would be that be resolved that council authorize administration to enter into an amending agreement for the reaching home contract with Word Tapestries, and that a 90-day termination clause be added for both parties.
Does that sound adequate? I guess you can fix it. Any other debate on that? Okay. With that, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
It is carried.
That approve the amending of the motion, now you have to
Now we have to
approve the
vote.
resolution
As amended.
as amended.
So we have added the amendment now, resolution 2025-037, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick and seconded by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that council authorize administration to enter into an amending agreement for reaching home contract with Word Tapestries and a 90-day termination clause be added for both parties. Administration, anything further? Yes.
You need a mover and a seconder to approve the resolution as amended. So this was your original mover and seconder, so you need a.
I leave my name as mover.
You, okay.
Yeah.
William Oswald. Moved and seconded.
Okay.
The amended motion, and then again. Deputy Mayor and Councillor, so. That all you need to know? And then vote on the vote. Yeah. Everybody was in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Six point three is a resolution to approve membership in the Hudson Bay Youth Association. Resolution 2025-038, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Swan. Be it resolved that council approve payment of membership for 2025 to the Hudson Bay Route Association for the amount not to exceed $300. Administration,
Nothing further.
Nothing further,
Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, comment?
nothing further.
Any other councillors, comments? Call for the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Point 4 is a resolution to appoint liaison for collaboration with Public Safety Administration to reduce incidents and improve public safety. Resolution 2025-039, moved by Councillor Wong, second by Councillor Chung. Whereas the council recognizes the importance of ensuring the safety and well-being of its citizens, and whereas a substantial reduction in long-term incidents is a critical object for improving public safety, and whereas council acknowledges that effective policies, bylaws, and active collaboration with public safety administration and is essential in achieving this goal. Now, therefore, it be resolved that council appoint, and I need one of the councillors to agree. Okay, we have two of you agreeing, so how, Tammy, do we need?
Can we nominate or how that works?
Finish the resolution.
Okay, I will, or let me finish them all. The council appoint, and right now we have Councillor Song and Councillor Wong, and the city manager to work directly with the Public Safety Administration to develop and enforce these bylaws and policies, ensuring measurable progress toward the goal of reducing incidents. And be it further resolved, the councillor to be named shall provide regular updates to council and the status of the implementation of these initiatives and their impact on incident reduction. So right now we have Councillor Wong and Councillor Saw. And it would be up, the second void, it'd be to that counselor, whoever is chosen, would come and report back to council. Counselor Wong?
Anyway, I will volunteer to call my names and we will council solve.
Okay, Counselor Saw, do you accept? Counselor Valentino, take your question.
I just need a little bit more clarification on like what this is.
Anthony?
So as part of council's strategic plan, council decided that they wanted one member of council to liaise with the city manager as well as the public safety department on reviewing bylaws in depth and bringing strategies back to council on how to deal with public safety issues. So that was outlined in the strategic plan.
So it's just to review the bylaws that go hand in hand with public safety, or all bylaws?
Just the ones with public safety.
Okay.
You're fine with the answer? Okay, so
Yeah, if it was the direction of council through their strategic plan. Yeah, how often will we get regular updates? Is there a timeline attached to that?
That's for council to determine.
Okay, well, I would put an amendment in that, we get quarterly updates.
it does say provide regular, you'd like that regular changed to quarterly?
If there's a matrix to report back regularly, I don't know what regularly means. But I'm fine with whatever, but I just think that that's leaving it pretty wide open.
So was that a motion, Counselor, to?
Yeah, motion to amend to have the regular updates be reworded to say quarterly.
Okay, so, she said it's a friendly amendment, so if council's okay with that.
Is council, if everybody okay with regular amendments changed to quarterly amendments by a show of hands?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That has been agreed on. I'm just gonna read the last two paragraphs of resolution 2025-039. Now therefore be it resolved that council appoint Councillor Saw and the city manager to work directly with the public safety administration to develop and enforce these bylaws and policies, ensuring measurable progress towards the goal of reducing incidents. And be it further resolved that Councillor Saw will provide quarterly updates to the council on the status of the implementation of these initiatives and their impact on incident reduction. Administration, anything further?
Nothing further.
Councillor Wong is the mover, anything further?
No, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It has passed. Six point five is a resolution to approve Councillor Landmark's absence in council. Resolution 2025-040, moved by Councillor Wong, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Whereas, as per section 94(1)(a) of the Municipal Act, a member of council is disqualified from council if he or she is absent for the full duration of 3 consecutive regular council meetings, unless the absences with the leave of the council, or with the leave of the council granted by a resolution passed at any of the 3 meetings, a prior meeting or the next meeting following the 3rd absence. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve Councillor Landmark's leave of absence from February 25th to June 9th, 2025. Administration.
Nothing further.
Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this kind of a topic is not the good topic to ask, but I must ask this question. when Councillor Lamar phoned you and asked for this leave of absence, because you mentioned about he phoned you and asked for this. He mentioned what's the reason?
Anthony?
I believe we're told it was a personal matter.
So my other question is, Madam Mayor, when he phoned you, asked for this leave of absence, did he have a concern about pay? I'm asking Madam Mayor, not the manager.
I'm not, like, when he's just asked for personal leave, I guess then it's up to us to decide if it's, if they're without pay.
So may I confidently say that he did not mention about the pay then, right? He's not concerned about the get pay or not getting paid, right?
He never,
Yes, yes.
when I talked to him also, he made no comment to that.
Okay. So this is how I look at it. Whatever reason, if any council want to take a leave of absence, I usually agree with that. But when there's a second time, I think there's a concern about getting paid. The leave of absence, I have absolutely no problem to say, yeah, go ahead. If you need to get some time off to recoup or that, whatever reason, I don't care anyway. It's not my place to ask that question. But to me, I think we have a obligation to fulfill our duty. Just like, there's no different than any staff in Tom's, in the city organization. If they work all the holidays, they will not get paid, they're not showing up. That's what happens all the time, you get the grievances and all the argument. So I think we should set the same standard when we come to this kind of activity. Other than that, I think it's allowed to ask for pay off if you need to. But the pay, if he's not concerned about it, I think to do a right thing, we should say no pay with the leave of absence. Should I need to make a friendly amendment, or that is just up to us to?
Anthony?
Yeah, so the resolution doesn't even discuss pay. So it's really council's will. That's what council is telling us, then we will follow council's will.
That's how I will agree. Thank you.
Councillor Valentino?
Thank you, Mayor Smook. I will be supporting the resolution as it's written, and if that includes pay, I'm completely fine with that. And I think that when someone has a personal reason, it's not for us to judge what that personal matter is and whether or not it involves money or whether or not they need to be paid. Part of the problem with counselors is we don't have sick days, and we don't have short-term disability, and we don't have any benefits. So that's why there's the opportunity to take a leave if you need to take a leave. And it's not for me to try to surmise what it is when it's been disclosed as a personal matter. So I will support Councillor Lundmark in his leave of absence with pay. And I think that as a team, and if you're a good team working together, you support each other. And if that means it's 4 or 5 months for someone to take a leave with pay, then so be it. We support him as a team member, and I'm supporting this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Saw?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be supporting this resolution as well. It's unfortunate that this needs to be discussed because I'm not sure if Councillor Lundmark had the opportunity to state whether he was asking for pay or not. And I'm glad that the resolution reads that it's just to grant him the leave. I think the other discussion can be done after. The main thing right now is to approve the leave. And I do agree that, you know, he should be given the chance to really say yeah. I mean, I think we're kind of assuming that, so I approve the resolution, the discussion with him after on this matter, so.
Thank you. Any other, Councillor Chong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this opened the door for him to take a 3-month leave to China with pay, right? Am I right?
Pardon?
I mean, this opened the door for me to take a holiday, 3-month holiday vacation to China with pay. Are they people going to support me? That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I guess the question is, how many are supporting this resolution, with council? Because it doesn't really say in the resolution either way, right? So, Anthony?
If council wants me to call and privately have a discussion about pay, we can talk about that at a separate meeting. The resolution actually says nothing about pay. The resolution is per the act, section 94(1)(a). There's a request for a leave, and this is a resolution to grant that leave. It's up to council how you want to deal with that other stuff. If you want another resolution to come forward on that, we could do it that way, but this one is strictly about a leave. This is canned language that we use based on how the act reads.
Okay, so if we're going to deal with that this way, same as it is, that it is just asking for the leave. And then it can be, questions can be asked later and brought back to us as to whether or not it's with pay, right, Anthony?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that we just operate on the direction we're getting from council. If that's a concern, we can have that discussion.
Okay, so as the resolution reads, who supports Councillor Lundmark being given time?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, hang on a minute. So this resolution doesn't include pay, right?
It doesn't say
It
anything.
doesn't include pay, yes, I will support it.
The resolution says nothing
It
about pay.
doesn't say it either way.
The last time we met with council, the direction administration was given, when we discussed this, was that there would be pay included. Council's having another discussion tonight, but strictly speaking, the resolution doesn't even discuss pay.
Okay, so it's not talking about pay right now, right?
Right.
I will support it.
All right, it is carried. Six point six is a resolution to change the date of the April 14th regular meeting council to April 10th. Resolution 2025-041, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Pardon me, second by Councillor Tone. Whereas as per organizational and procedural bylaw, council may by resolution vary or cancel the date and time of a regular meeting. And whereas members of council will be attending the Association of Manitoba Municipality meetings from April 14th to the 17th, 2025. And there will be no quorum for the Monday, April 14th, 2025 regular meeting of council. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the change of date of the regular meeting of council from Monday, April 14th to Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Administration.
Self-explanatory, there's no comment.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Any other comments from councillors? Seeing none, call for the, sorry, Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe before we change this procedural and organization bylaw section 18, allow any council member that if they cannot be present, they can go on Zoom to get a quorum. So the tool is provided for that reason, because that time, the reason we had it because of the COVID, but now the tool's in place. I can't see why we cannot meet quorum. Because AMM, I think by the time they're done, it's probably like 4 or 5. The meeting probably at like 7 o'clock. So I don't know why. I was on the AMM board before. I fall in to get the quorum to enter the meeting. So what's the difference now? I just
Okay, so
try to understand this.
What it says here is all AMM, but I'm personally not going to AMM this year as I am in a conference in Lethbridge. And I won't be available that night. That night I'm traveling. My flight will be on my way to Lethbridge. I'm not, and I'll go to Councillor Fitzpatrick for AMM first.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the way the schedule is set up this year for the AMM, there are meetings, right after the regular recession is done. You're right, 4:30, and then there's a series of other meetings leading us into the evening. One of them being the Northern Caucus meeting for all the northern municipalities.
Thank
Therefore,
you.
we won't be able to attend council meeting then either.
Councillor Valentino.
Thank you, Mayor Smook. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, explained it. Yeah, there are events that go on in the evenings, trade show. There's minister meetings still with opportunities, and there are some, speakers and some events on that evening also. So things have changed where we use all the time now for AMM convention. So there is stuff in the evenings now. So if we don't have quorum, we legitimately do not have quorum.
Thank you. Counselor Sawant?
Thank you. Yeah, just one quick thing. I mean, I understand about the quorum issue. I guess my concern would be the public is used to meetings a certain time. And I'm trying to understand from, from Nolan's point of view, when people are so used to, I know my term on council before, the entire 8 years, I don't think we ever moved a council meeting from a Monday to another day because of quorum issue. If anything, we just canceled that meeting and just had stuff done at the next regular meeting because of the fact that the public has gotten used to us meeting on Monday. So I guess my only concern would be the ability for the public to be well informed that meeting is happening on Thursday versus Monday, something that we probably should.
Thank you. Counselor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate the two of my colleagues' passion about helping the city and to do this kind of work. But if I do the math, 2 out of our quorum, and plus the mayor, 3 of you, we still have enough people to run the meeting. So I don't see it necessary to be canceled. Right? So if they cannot attend, that's fine to me, absolutely. But it's still 3 to me so far. We still have enough quorum. So my point is, it's not necessary to cancel the meeting. We still can carry on the business. That's why I will not agree to cancel it. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Oberdorfer?
I was just gonna, oh, hello. I was just gonna make a note that I'm also going to be at AMM, and I think I might be traveling Monday night. I have to contact Mel about that because I don't, and just to clarify, I know there's stuff going on Monday, but I just needed to clarify whether or not it's open to all members to go to the caucus meetings, or if that's just for the CAO and the mayors or deputy mayor. So I just need to clarify that, but I think that I may potentially be traveling Monday. If not, then I'll be attending those meetings if it's open to all AMM members from the Northern District. Thank you.
Counselor Fitzpatrick?
Thank you. Yes, it's open to all members of council.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so from our forum check, it'd be Councilor Valentino, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Mayor Smook, Councilor Oberdorfer, and then with the leave of absence, Councilor Lundmark. So there'd be 5 members of council missing, meaning there wouldn't be 4.
Thank you. And also, if we can't get on the thing, city manager, you're also gonna be at AMM. So thank you. And if we cancel the meeting totally, then things won't get dealt with until the 28th, because next week could be a committee of the whole meeting again. So, anyway, we're gonna vote on the resolution, see where it goes from there. Is everybody finished speaking? Councilor Wong?
Record the vote, please, Madam Mayor.
Pardon?
Record the vote.
Recorded vote, okay, and a recorded vote. Resolution 2025-041, who is in favor of it? Who's opposed?
There you have to say the names of.
Kathy, I didn't get your vote. Councilor Valentino?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Okay, did pass. Thank you.
No.
Anthony?
Mayor Smook, it's a recorded vote, so you have to read out
Oh, I'm sorry.
each councilor's
So-
name, so it can be recorded.
So for the resolution, voting for the resolution was Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Mayor Spook, Councilor Valentino, Counselor Oberdorfer. Opposed was Counselor Chong, Counselor Saw, and Counselor Wong. It did pass. Okay, make sure that it gets advertised well on our website, that and our radio, and then I'll mention it that Thursday morning, even as a city meeting, so we'll show people. Six point seven is a resolution to approve taxes council. Resolution 2025-042, moved by Councillor Saw, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Be it resolved that pursuant to the authority provided in section 306.1 of the Municipal Act, Council hereby authorizes the cancellation of taxes hereto as Appendix AC 1-2025. Lynn?
Thank you. The first three listed on the appendix are the just regular business closures that were sent to us by the assessor in 2024. So this cancels all the amount of taxes due from the time the business closed last year until the end of the year. The fourth one on the list was we sent out taxes added in December, and there were 6 people who appealed their taxes added. We had until March the 22nd, I believe, to make an appeal and meet with the assessor to see if there was an agreement. All 5 of those were reduced with no changes, but this last one, the assessor agreed with the homeowner and further reduced the assessed value of the taxes added. So because of the age of the building and the age of the garage that was attached, so this is to make that cancellation as well.
Thank you. Councillor Saw as the mover, any comments? Any other council comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Six point eight is a resolution authorizing the administration to enter into a contribution agreement between the province of Manitoba.
Thank you. 6.8 is
Oops,
resolution to appoint a tax.
sorry, yes, I started saying 6.8 rather than 6.9. Sorry, 6.8 is a resolution to appoint a tax sale manager. Resolution 2025-043, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that pursuant to bylaw number 1834-2010 of the City of Thompson, Tax Service Inc. has been appointed to manage property tax arrears recovery for the City of Thompson. And therefore be it resolved that pursuant to bylaw 1834-2010 of the City of Thompson, the following individuals be appointed as tax sale managers for the City of Thompson. Number 1, Donna Zinku, Vice President of Tax Service, or number 2, Tyler Burnside, Associate of Tax Service. Administration. Lynn?
The Francine, who has handled this since 2010, has relocated to Quebec, and so she will not longer and be conducting these services. So these 2 people have been appointed in place.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, questions?
Nothing further there.
Any other council questions? Councillor Wong?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just curiosity, is the city, I mean, right now, I know it's short of staff, but in the future, let's say we do full staff, is it the city will be able to look after this ourselves?
Lynn?
The contract that we have currently hold the tax service ends at the end of this fiscal year, so certainly that would be something that would be looking at. for the 2026 and onward.
Because I also future, I know right now it's shorter. Because when I look at the fee, it's kind of significant that if we can look after that part ourselves. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Resolution 6.9, a resolution authorizing administration to enter into a contribution agreement between the province of Manitoba, the city of Thompson for the coming community development program project. Resolution 2025-044, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor Chung. Whereas Manitoba, through the community development program, is committed to working with not-for-profit organizations and local governments to build and sustain thriving communities across the province of Manitoba. And whereas Manitoba, through the From the Ground Up program, is committed to support and build safe, healthy communities where individuals, children, youth, and families can thrive, including funding for both application-based projects and strategic partnership for children and youth in high needs areas. And whereas Manitoba is prepared to provide the recipient with a grant through the Community Development Program in support of its City of Thompson Regional Community Center site, enhanced children and youth programming project as hereinafter defined, and subject to the terms and conditions and set out in the agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that council authorize administration to enter into the contribution agreement between the province of Manitoba and the city of Thompson for the community development program. Administration?
Not too much to add to this. This is a grant being provided by the province of Manitoba. I do believe it is time sensitive to flow these funds. We need to sign the agreement this week so that they can be flowed by the end of the week prior to April, with the understanding that next year we may be eligible for additional funding.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think this is a good program, and I think we feel we need to support it, so.
Okay, any other councillors? Councillor Saul.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge administration for applying for this. There's no doubt that this will be very helpful. We do have a lot of challenges when it comes to some of our youth, or maybe our youth being able to access very low cost or no cost recreational opportunities. It'd be good to see how these funds are spent, but I do look forward to the initiative, and I do want to thank the administration for putting this forward. And I'm just asking if we could have some sort of reporting thereon and how the funds are spent and the impact of the. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, and I think this one, even though it was put to the government, it was really, I think Mayor Smook and Councillor Valentino pushed the government through a series of meetings to have this project prioritized. So the administration can't take the credit on that end.
Well, thank you, guys.
Actually, I met this Noelle DePape last fall at a meeting, and she said Thompson hadn't, been in for the ground up, so she said at that point, they were going to earmark $100,000 for Thompson and the youth in that. So a week or two ago when Anthony got notice, I could see the girl's face, couldn't remember her name, but she happened to be at the budget this year, so we were able to connect again. And that funding isn't just 100,000 is now, but it's not a one-time thing. You actually go into the pool, and next year we could be eligible for 100,000 plus. So, and this is it, that it is preferably for youth and that, so maybe we even want to go to our youth groups or people to work with youth and get some presentations from them and just see how, we could spend the money.
Yeah,
Oswald?
thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think being able to use this to help leverage other resources to our community organizations would be very impactful. They tend to, know well what are some of the best uses of this, so I think the city of Thompson would be well served by having some good partnerships with community organizations.
And I believe this is a conversation that we can have as a council to see what direction we want to get at that, when we can all get together. Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Councilor
Aye.
Valentine?
Aye.
Thank you. It's carried. Going to bylaws. We have bylaw 7.1 is the second reading of bylaw 2044-2025. Only bylaw amendment. Resolution 2025-045, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that bylaw 2044-2025, being a bylaw of the city of Thompson, to amend bylaw 1891-2012, being the city of Thompson zoning bylaw as amended, which will amend figure 75, permitted conditional use in UH zone by adding youth placement facility as a conditional use in the urban home zone, and also amend section 6.1 use class definitions to include the following definition of youth placement facility, be given a second reading. Administration.
Yep, good evening again. So this, the second reading is in front of council this evening. So, you know, everything I've already said tonight in the first reading with regards to the public hearing. Just a couple of notes. One is this has been reviewed by our regional planner, Brett Mack, and he is aligned. He actually came up with the definition for us to use. So he is aligned with this. There was a public hearing earlier this evening. There was one party that spoke in favor of and the 0 parties that spoke against. And again, I said earlier, just a reminder to council, this is the first step. This is a zoning bylaw amendment for the zone. Any property owner within that zone wishing to implement this use class definition on their property would have to come forward with a conditional use application. So it's kind of a two-step process.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm in favor of this amendment as I feel it's a good project and I'm looking forward to MKO's participation in this.
Thank you. Councillor Saw.
Thank you. I also going to speak in favor of this. You know, I can't stress enough the challenges we're seeing with our youth these days. It's not as new, it's been building slowly over the last 5 to 10 years. Having options like this, regardless of this MP or anyone else, where you would be able to have facilities like this, it'd be hugely helpful when we look at issues such as aging out, the care, duty to care. We have an increasing issue when we look at the homelessness issue. The homeless face is getting younger. We're having over 40% of people who are homeless today were homeless under the age of 16. We have an increase in trauma happening, and we need to bring as many options to the table, including things like this. So definitely in support of this. And I hope to see what is made out of this conditional use change. So I look forward to seeing some progress on this down the road.
Thank you. Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a concern about the zoning bylaw. The reason the city set the urban reserve, urban hold, sorry, The reason we set that as urban hold is because the piece of land that we have, we don't decide what to do yet. That's why they've set it as urban hold zoning. But now I can see that I have concern reason is because now that area has become so many different things happening. Of course, if anybody come and ask for conditional use, we usually grant it, right? But is that how we want to target this type of zoning to be? Because right now over there you have hydro facility, you have a government, and then you have a campground. There's so many, it's so crowded, different reason. So would it be better moving forward, we can make it into more unique into certain things that we want to grant it, not like. I find it's very messy in that zoning there. It's not to say good or bad, it's just like messy in my view, look at that. And now if you move further down, there's another seaplane base and stuff like that, right? So it's very messy. I look at that way.
Thank
I
you.
want to hear what manager want to say. Please.
Anthony?
Yep, so that's exactly why we've hired the consultant who's doing that work. So this is us working with the 2012 and trying to make something happen now using the old zoning bylaw, but that's why we've hired HTFC who did their first session on March 10th. We'll be working over the next year is to do all that work to identify exactly what you're saying, clean that up, mark those parcels out and give them proper definitions. So it would carve out parts of the urban hold. And it could potentially in the future urban hold in the new bylaw. Youth facility might not be in there. It's going in there now to help facilitate this project.
Well, may I manage? That's why 100% support when you guys want to do the rezoning thing. But when I look at this, once you grant it, you're not going to remove them because the person will own that forever. So now let's say we're looking for a piece of land, parcel land to develop into a different reason. Now we limit them because that parcel land is being used, portion of this, portion of that, it becomes so messy. So I don't know how, moving forward, we can change it, that part. To me, it's just like, the project is good. I think the project is needed in Thompson. But the location is kind of like, to me, it's so messy. Another concern I have, because it's a youth, I never have opportunity to ask the question. Is there a fence up because it's right by the river? I don't know, this kind of thing, I like to know, but I don't have an opportunity to ask the question. Hopefully, next round when they actually come for the application, I'll be able to ask that question. But anyway, it is what it is. Thank you.
I'll speak on it too, but I will to Councillor Valentino first.
Thank you, Mayor Smook. I'm going to be supporting this. I support the project 100%. And as for the location, I have no issue with it. There's a lot of land on that north side of the Brentwood River. So I think that this is one step on making a piece of that land as something different. And it's very spread out. Manitoba Hydro is not near this. It's way past the campground on the other side of a road. So I think that this is a good thing and it's an initiative and I support it. And I think, like City Manager says, that going through the process with the consultants is our next step as a council, but we can't definitely not hold up. We don't want to hold up projects that are good, that are in need now. We're a ways away from what the consultants are going to come back with how land and development looks in our community. So I'm definitely supporting this reading and I'll support the third reading of this also. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to point out that Calvin did leave handouts for everybody and about the scope of the project, so straight around the table, but
Thank you. Any other councillors? Councillor Chong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is, like this facility, how many youth they can accommodate under what criteria?
Yeah.
She said 10 at the presentation.
Okay. So that building, can that building accommodate 10 people?
Okay.
I think we have to remember we're focused on the zoning at the moment. The conditional use with the use of how many people are in it, they still have to apply to council for that. So this is really about the zone, right? That's why that sort of detailed information isn't attached, because we're focused on the zone of the land, not the actual facility itself.
Anything further, Councillor Tom?
What happened in more than 10 June?
We
So
set,
where they gonna put it?
we set those parameters. If, when they deal with Lyle and that come for the conditional use, if it says only 10 people, that's all that's gonna be allowed in there. You know, so basically, when I saw this bylaw come through, this is one of those that it's not in my backyard. Well, this is in my backyard because I have to own the campground. And I have been one of the ones that has been pushing for the 10 years that I've been on council that we help accommodate our youth, get things going, programming, get help for our youth up here in the north. So definitely, I am definitely going to support this. It is in my backyard. It will be 10 more youth in my thing. And it will be up to, we will work with the people that are running it, MKO and whoever, is to make sure that everything works right. And with the conditional uses that go through the city of Thompson, it'll help any neighbors that have concerns there. But I definitely think this has been a lot of hard work and a lot of this. Getting a lot of money to put into programming for the youth and to help the youth. And I'm excited to be part of this initial project. So I welcome them to our neighborhood when this goes through. Thank you very much. With that, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the bylaw amendment?
Aye.
Carried. Seven point two is the third reading of bylaw 2044, and I just want to remind everybody, third reading is a recorded vote. Resolution 2025-046, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that the bylaw 2044-2025 be given third and final reading and that it now pass. Administration?
Nothing further.
Councillor Fitzpatrick?
Nothing further.
Any other councillors? Call for the question in a recorded vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Oberdorfer, Councillor Valentino, Councillor Chong, Mayor Smook, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick. Councillor Saw, did you have your hand up or not? Okay. Councillor Wong, you're voting for it?
Yes.
Passed unanimously. Thank you. Seven point three is the first reading of bylaw 2046, 2025. The indemnity bylaw. Bylaw resolution 2025-047, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that bylaw 2046-2025 being a bylaw of the city of Thompson to establish indemnities and travel allowances and mileage rates for members of council employees be introduced and read for a first time. Administration. Anthony?
So the current bylaw has been in place since 2019 and very few changes have been made since, though the bylaw requires an annual review. Through the strategic planning, the administration was directed to have a review of the indemnities. Scenarios were presented last meeting for proposals, and the administration was told to bring forward those scenarios in a bylaw tonight for debate and first reading. The selections that were made were based on the consumer price index, as stated in the bylaw, and changes to align rates with the federal rates for travel and other indemnities.
Mayor Fitzpatrick?
Thank you, Mayor. One point I would like to make is, point number 4, where it says an indemnity. Is paid per day for lost wages. I don't agree with the term lost wages. I feel anybody attending functions on behalf of council should, be included in indemnities. You shouldn't just be, based on whether or not you have a job or not.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anthony?
Just to clarify, would that also then apply to item 5, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Anthony?
Is that a change that council wants us to make for the second reading?
We could, right?
This is your time, like,
Like, now's the time to talk. We're doing the first reading and then it will be debated. Councilor Wong.
Any better, Maria? Why are we using the Bank of Canada inflation rate instead of the federal, or the federal instead of the Bank of Canada?
Anthony?
so last week I presented council with 3 scenarios. One was the Bank of Canada inflation calculator, one was the consumer price index, and the other was a change based on the salary changes that were given to members of administration. Council didn't choose, I don't believe they choose the
They chose based on.
salaries.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Bank of Canada rate's not there, it was presented as an option.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the thing I agree, a lot of things I don't agree, because I'm here not for money. I'm here to do things for people that elected me for. So I don't care about the pay. To me, the pay is just kind of like appreciation for me to show up for meeting. And but now, especially now, we have way less meeting than I used to attend. I don't even hold any standalone committee anymore. It's a committee as a whole. So if you divide by the hour, we are gaining so much by changing the procedural and the organization bylaw. And also, when the increase is not to benefit me, it just end up giving more to the government. Ever since they changed the rule. I totally agree with them that we are not here about the money. If we worry about the loss of our income, to me, maybe they just send the regret not showing up. The mileage, I just want to clarify that the mileage is applied to all this city administration as well, or just for council alone?
Anthony?
So it's for the use of a personal vehicle, the way the city's travel policy works, that any member of staff who travels follows the same indemnity policy as council. So if you set that mileage rate now in yours, that then sets it for city staff,
The same as the meal as well?
the meals as well.
Anybody?
I wish I could have a box. But anyway, if council agree that the wages part is irrelevant to me, irrelevant. The rest, I think we should keep up the inflation because of the fuel gas is getting more and more. You can't go out for the breakfast less than $10, unless you just have a toast, right? Those kind of things I probably agree with. But wages to me, if we willing, if all my colleagues willing to do the 10-year amendment, I will 100% support them. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Valentino?
Thanks, Mayor Smook. So it's definitely a need for this to be changed and straightened up. I support the change, and yeah, we did talk about having the council indemnity match what administration had been given since the 2019. So I think it works out to only like it's $1,200. It's not like it's gonna jump anybody into some enormous tax bracket by $1,200. And I also think that our time is worth money. And some of us put a lot more time than others, and we don't ever differentiate between that. So I have no problem saying to the public that I work hard at this. And I have no problem saying that my time is worth something. And I feel like I do a good job. And I think if we want people to be a part of council and if we want to get people to run in the future, we want good people to run, that we have to be aligned on what people pay for people's time now in this day and age. And we are far behind in that. So I think it looks us and, that portrays us as a little bit more as a professional organization and a professional mayor and council when we're paying for the value of what people put into this and into the city. So I have no problem with it. I don't think it's enough. And I have no problem saying that because the work that we've done, you can see is tenfolds over with what's going on right now in our city with over $100 million in grant money and projects. So I think that the indemnity increase, it's not enough. I'll support it as it is right now and what's been brought forward for the first reading. And I think that when all is said and done and they do a review, which is, literally probably a couple years out, we're still going to be extremely underpaid for a city our size, for a city with the budget we have, and for the number of projects that we have on the go. So I'm completely in favor of, and I spoke to this last week on how it's presented, and I'll be supporting it. Thank you to administration because we certainly didn't give you very good direction last week.
Thank you. Councilor Oberdorf.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a few things. I don't really have any overall concerns with the indemnity increase itself. It's a very minimal impact to our bottom line, so I'm not overly concerned with the amount. In regards to the like the meal rates and the mileage and things like that, I think given that if it's just affecting council, I think I would be fine with it staying at the sort of like aligning with the provincial rates. Although I think maybe our meal ones were lower, I can't remember. But anyhow, because it also affects the sort of the mileage and meal rates that our employees receive as well. I definitely think that we should increase those. It's not fair to our employees that it's costing them sort of significant money out of pocket, I feel like, to travel for training and things like that. I definitely think we need to increase that. Whether we make some kind of change that's just related to staff, I don't really care either way, but the amount isn't enough. As it was mentioned, you can't get breakfast even for, I think even $10 is a stretch. I don't even know that you can get breakfast for $10, but so I definitely think there needs to be some updates to that. The other thing I wanted to point out, I think there's a typo in 5. I think it's supposed to say while instead of will. But I could be wrong, but the way that I read it, it seems like there's a typo in the end of the sentence. I think it should say while on council business, yeah, I think that's it for me for now. Oh, actually, sorry. The other thing, and this is kind of awkward timing because we've talked about this in the past, and not really bringing it up because there is a motion on the agenda tonight about leave, but we have talked about in the past about whether or not we wanted to consider some kind of parameters about leave and leave of absences and indemnities. So I'm just throwing that out there, not because it's on the agenda tonight. The timing is just awkward that it is on the agenda, that there is a leave, but we have talked in the past about whether we want to consider having a conversation around that. Not saying that it has to be right now, but maybe something for us to consider different options in the future. I don't know what other councils do in that respect. I'm fine with it the way it is for now. But I would be curious just to look into what other places do for those types of leaves and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Song.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just say in general, I hear what my council colleagues are saying. I do agree with what Councilor Wong mentioned. I don't think anyone around the table here ran for council or sit on council because of pay. We each have our own reasons. I think the pay is pretty low on that list of reasons why we ran. In saying that, I also agree with Councilor Valentino that there needs to be some value put on it, definitely based on the amount of meetings at times that various members go to. that this is more of a acknowledgement more than anything else. And I think it's important to have it somehow, increase because not as much with us, but councils down the road, you know, we always hear about how, sometimes they put like a 0%. Increase on taxes, and after having a tax freeze for 5 years, then you're doing a major catch up after down the road. I think we do need to have some escalator clause pinned to pull or whatever. Not as much for us, but for, you know, to have some structure down the road for other councilors and other people that come after us. So I'm fine with the way it's been amended. I do thank administration for the work that they put into it. And I'll be supportive of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anthony?
To Councillor Oberdorfer's point, it's not exactly, I believe, what the councillor is discussing, but there is a clause in the bylaw that says if a councillor is absent for more than a total of 6 meetings per year of either committee, the whole or regular meeting council, that councillor will be subject to a loss of $100 indemnification for each further absence, unless that absence has been excused by resolution of council.
Thank you. Everybody else commented? I would just like to say, oh, sorry,
Thank you. I just want to ask the city manager about what you just mentioned. Will it be contradicting the absent? Like the leave for absent for 3 months, that will be kind of apply to that. How that work? Yeah.
It says unless that absence has been excused by resolution of council. So I guess I'm just pointing out that's what it says. Council needs to discuss that paragraph further. How should we change? This is your opportunity while we're doing this.
And also final question, you have 3 scenarios here. Which one are we talking about? Then the wages increase, we have 2 scenarios.
So it's probably better for you to refer to the actual rewritten bylaw because the scenario has been put in there. The scenario that was used was linking it to the pay that was given to members of the administrative pay. So it's less than some of the other calculators would have given.
Okay, perfect. Anything else? Okay, so when I go through it, one thing I would like to see is a one price for the mileage. Whether it be 45, 47, 50 cents rather than south one rate and north another rate. Yes.
Yeah, that's already in there.
Okay.
I think it's important for everyone to be looking at
The second one.
The second bylaw.
2046-2025. That's where all the changes have been incorporated in. So if any changes have to be made, it have to be made to this.
That's what I was looking at.
And basically, we all know that when we're out of town, like when we are in Toronto conventions, you're lucky to get a breakfast for $40. Toast and coffee is up to $30 we have paid for just toast and coffee. So just a few things like that. So, and as for the indemnities for council, I do feel that there has to be a change in them. Personally, I'm leaning more with what we give our administration. I really think that basically, if I don't feel we deserve to get much any more than our administration, so I would go with that. But again, that'll be the wish of councils and that. And this is the first reading of this bylaw, so there can be changes made to it before the second reading. So with that, seeing no more questions, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of this bylaw for the first reading?
Aye.
Carried. Remember to get your questions, concerns in before the second reading. 7.4, first reading, bylaw 2047, 2025, organizational procedure bylaw amendments. Resolution 202504, moved by Counselor Wong, second by Counselor Fitzpatrick. Be it resolved, bylaw 2047-2025 being a bylaw of the city of Thompson to amend bylaw 2017-2022 being a bylaw of the city of Thompson to govern the organization of the city of Thompson and the committees thereof, and to regulate the proceedings and conduct of the council and the committees thereof be introduced and read a first time. Administration.
So it's discussed as part of the strategic planning work that was done with Way to Go Consulting, as well as at the last committee, the whole, the changes that are being proposed being made now are using the existing bylaw, changing how committee or regular meetings can be scheduled or rescheduled or canceled. There'll be some changes there to not require a meeting to then cancel a meeting. There's also the removal of the community comments in the feedback section to be replaced with scheduled town hall meetings. The council still has to determine how that part is going to work. And then there's discussion on bringing back standing committees. The current bylaw as it's written already allows that, so no edits have been made to that section, because all it would require now is to bring a resolution forward, form the committee, and it would start to operate. So there's really no need to make a change there unless council wants to do something different. So this is what's brought forward for the first reading. And then the council can make any other changes that they'd like as we move forward.
Thank you, Counselor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a few questions here. I took some notes here. Page 18, under the section 6 procedural and rule of debate for regular and special meeting of council. Under the 6.3.7.5, okay, about speaking. So right there, you always say that we limited the member twice or whatever that. But when you look down to the page 32, under section 9.13, so you repeat that again. So is it necessary for that way, or can we just take one out? So
Could you
So I know what he's talking about, so it has to do with one's committee of the whole, one's regular meeting council, and it's just the way the bylaw is written. So one
we
section,
minimize that, because speaking is just, in general, that's how we conduct the meeting already, for debate.
but the way, then we'd have to rewrite the whole thing, because the committee of the whole is broken down into sections, so you have the agenda, you have forum, you have everything, and then you go into the regular meeting and it does the same thing. It is repetitive.
Yeah.
But it's beneficial as well, so we just have to take it out of both spots.
Accepted the other explanation. Okay, Madam Mayor, can I continue then? Under section 4.6.7, page 11. Can we put a time limit there? Because there used to be at certain time of the week, the agenda must be posted on the city hall front desk, front door. Around, I believe, is no later than 4 o'clock. But I think because of the COVID, we changed a lot of things. So now we're taking away what we put on the website. But sometimes people cannot get it time. So is it possible to put a time there, time limit? Are you understand what I'm saying?
are not understanding?
Well, they used to they have to print a hard copy and post it in front of the city hall. People can drive by and take a look. Is it the same thing I'm talking about, that section there? Yeah, right now, because we don't post it, we don't hard copy. Post it in front of the city hall main entrance, so we use website to take over that part, right? So is it possible to add the time limit into that?
So it is listed in 4.6.5, the agenda of the regular meeting of council, together with supporting material, will be provided to members at least 2 full days prior.
This is to the member, talking
Yeah,
to the public.
It's always open on Fridays. But we could add that if you like.
I would like to have a time limit, at least a time that people can expect it. It's more clear. If all my colleagues agree with that. And,
Yeah, I think we'll have to look into that more, because I think what Tammy's saying is, the moment council gets it, it is public at that time, at that moment. So if we're required to provide it to council 48 hours minimum before, we're providing it even more than that. The second that council sees it, the public can see it. So it's already done. That's how our system is set up.
I don't recall why we took that out. We used to have a time. We must post it at 4 o'clock Friday after, before 4, but I can't remember why.
I
That's why
think it's because if certain meetings change dates or something happens, you're not like stuck to the 4 PM on Friday. What you're saying is you're getting it 48 hours ahead of that meeting. Because sometimes things happen that aren't normal. So say a meeting's happening on a Thursday, you will not have to get that on Tuesday, 48 hours. So it makes it more flexible to how council's doing its business.
perhaps, I can't remember why. We did that. So come to number 7, the voting. How come it's not stated about the second, third reading voting procedural? Is it something that I can find from somewhere else, or
It's located further down in the agenda.
which is?
I have to,
I tried to
pull it
look,
up,
I did try to look, I couldn't see that. What I like to suggest is, it's fine to me, the second reading, if it's passed unanimously. The third reading should be reading the same day. But if it's not, I believe we should give opportunity for the third reading into the different meeting, not pass in the second and third in the same meeting, but it's not unanimously. I agree when it's unanimously, like no reason to postpone the third reading, but when it is not, I think it's giving us an opportunity to find more new information if we need to, perhaps.
So the way that the bylaws and the voting and everything is structured is based on the municipal act. So the way that we would write it is take the language out of the municipal act that tells us what has to be done.
I believe the bylaw, our procedural and organization, we can do better. That is just a guideline. A lot of time we change the municipal act anyway. I understand that.
But if there is
I get that.
not consent at the second
Not a
reading,
newbie, I
we
get
don't
that.
do the third reading.
No,
So
what
the
I'm
third
saying,
reading will be
I like
after
to
the
change
third
that
reading
if
will
the
be fine.
second reading is not unanimously, I'd like to have a third reading separately. But if it's unanimously, sure, why not? Have a second and third reading the same night. That's all I'm talking about.
Thank you. Councilor Valentino?
Thanks, Mayor Smook. Yeah, I'm fine with the changes and, I just wanted to clarify the one comment by Councillor Wong. We don't change the municipal act. The municipal act is what we follow. So yeah, no, I'm fine with the way it is. And we have talked about making changes. Like we continually talk about making changes to this. And, you know, at the last minute, we can't all of a sudden, have all these great ideas for administration when we've been trying to get to making a change. And I think that part of what you all undertook through your strategic planning with Mr. Epp was to actually own this for yourself now. And you talked about all of this. So now these are the actions that came out of your strategic planning to go forward with some of these changes. And good on you as a group that you came to this point that this has been brought now for first reading to make some of these changes. I support it. I wasn't at strategic planning, but I support that we're finally at a spot where we're gonna make this our own. And it's important not to focus on how things were done in the past. We have to focus on what works for us as a council. So, it's not an issue for me that things get posted at City Hall when we change that because it's 48 hours, it's public knowledge anyways. So I just caution always as people, we worry about how we used to do it for what works for us right now. And a good indication of that is with community comments. As a group, through strategic planning, you guys acknowledge that we need to get into our community to have the community comments because the community is not coming to us. So I think it's great to have town halls. If your administration is looking for direction, which city manager asked, I would say it's a quarterly town hall in one of the areas around town. We tried that for 12 months. It leads us into the next municipal election. That would be my only comments. Otherwise, I support it as is, and I appreciate that we're making some changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Oberdorfer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, to echo Councillor Valentino's comments, the notes that I had written down were a suggestion that instead of just having the removal of community comments altogether, that we replace it with quarterly town halls. So my concern with us just having it removed completely from the procedural bylaw and not including the town halls whatsoever is just that I feel like we won't prioritize it if we don't have it in our procedural bylaw, and that it'll sort of drop to the wayside with all of the other work that we have going on. And so that's my biggest concern, kind of with just having it completely erased and not including anything in replacement of that section of the bylaw. And then the other thing we talked about in the strategic planning was the committees. And so we talked about the potential of maybe like a hybrid model or going back to the committees themselves. And so I think that needs sort of a more in-depth conversation of what that's going to look like. I know that hasn't been captured in this bylaw today. It still states that we're just going to continue with committee of the whole. And so I think we need to figure out as a council, what does that look like in terms of moving forward, either with going back to committee structure or having some type of hybrid model. I know that when we talked about it, strategic planning, we didn't quite hash out what that model would look like. So I think that's a discussion that's still sort of left sort of open, that we need to sort of, I guess, complete that sort of circle and figure out what we're going to do so that we can incorporate that into our bylaw changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Song. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I like the idea of bringing back the committees. I think that's great. I will say one change that I'm really having problems with this, and you know, it was reflected in what Councillor Oberdorfer just mentioned and Councillor Valentino, is removal of the community comments and feedback. When I was on council last time, we tried to do this where we had these town hall meetings. One year, I believe, we had a few of them. And based on other pressures on our time, those slowly dropped off. I think the ability, and I do understand from our strategic planning meeting that it was discussed that Thompson is one of few that has these. And I honestly take that as a source of pride rather than saying, you know, we should maybe get on to what everyone else is doing. I think it's great to be able to have the feedbacks, the comments. So, you know, I really think that it shows transparency. It shows the ability for us to be here to address questions on an ongoing basis, not just, you know, every 3 months or whatever, how often we do the town halls. So I would say that I'm having a real tough time trying to support that part, the removal of the comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Valentino, is your hand up again?
Yes, it is. I just have a few more comments, Mayor Smook.
Okay.
My understanding about the committees through administration is that, just to Councillor Oberdorfer's comments, but the administration said that the committees are already identified in the bylaw, that it's a separate discussion for council to how we want to structure them. So that's not part of changing or having that conversation tonight. This is just the reading of the first reading. And to my comments about the community comments, and I don't think it's a sense of pride, Councillor Saw, because we aren't reaching our community. Our community is not taking advantage of community comments. So we only have a year left. So if we want to have 1 year of doing something different, then let's do it. Then remove community comments and replace it with the wording that we are going to make a commitment to go into the community for town hall meetings quarterly. But I mean, things may drop off, but we only have a year left to try and make a change or make a difference. So, and clearly, I don't think that there's any constructive community comments that come forward because the community isn't coming forward to them. So I would like us for 1 year to remove that and have it say that council will go for quarterly town hall meetings till October of 2026. And then the council of the day at that time can decide how they want to structure it. But I feel that we aren't reaching our community at all with the way it is now.
Thank you. Councilor Oberdorfer, your hand's up again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to make a motion to amend the resolution or the bylaw to include quarterly town hall meetings. Thank you.
Anthony, I don't.
Yeah, so it's not needed to do it tonight, Councillor. What we do is we add that into the second reading. So we're taking comments that people are making, and the ones that we're able to, we'll bring forward as proposed changes if we're hearing that it looks like a consensus.
Okay, I'm good with that. Thank you.
Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I appreciate Councilor Oberdorfer and Councilor Shaw share the same concern I have. I was compromised before. We used to have a general inquiry and a question period at the end of the meeting. We took that out. To me, I will not settle anything less than no. And also, earlier we have a big debate about using section number 18, participate in a meeting using communication facility. I think we should remove that because that is there for us to use it, but because of whatever reason, they cannot use it, might as well don't have it there. So I would like to remove that, please. If we're not going to follow this bylaw, which is that's for the reason. And I would like to see that the general inquiry remain there. As I said before, I will not change. So this is the first reading. I totally understand. I will support the first reading because I want the second reading to look at all the changes that I mentioned. To see if it's not, then I will not support the changes. Sure enough, I understand the changes, but we already changed a lot of things. We're making a lot of big steps. I don't care about a year left or 2 years left or whatever. That is wrong. To me, when you take away all this possibility, by the way, what's really bothered all of us about the general inquiry? What is really bothering us? Is there is opportunity for people if they need it? Why is it bother us? We have to take it out. Can someone answer me that want to take it out?
It was discussed at our strategic
I
plan.
understand that. Can someone that want to take it out explain to me why is it so bothered that have it in their bylaw?
Yeah, I will, because nobody from the community is showing up.
Please.
They settled? Or not? Okay. Okay, that's so basically when it was talked about at that strategic planning, it was talked around the table by everybody, and it was felt that it wasn't utilized as the way it should be, whether it be that we're not advertising or what. So that was when it was decided, we go back to the public. There's still the ability for anybody that wants to come and talk to us to put their name in and talk as a delegation and ask a question before the council meeting. That ability is still there for the general public. It is just that we haven't been utilizing the community comments to what everybody thought they should be. I go to Councillor Valentino first.
Oh, I'm done. I spoke. I totally agree with you, Mayor Smook. It's not being utilized. Our community isn't coming forward to us, so I want us to go to the community. That's all. I'm fine. Thanks.
And same with community comments. We as council, we're out and about all the time, that the public should feel free to come to us. Most of them have our phone numbers, or, you know, that they can get a hold of us if there is any concern. So that was another notion that was made. Councillor Saul.
Thank you. Just a few things. One is I do understand the concern about certain members of the community that come forward, that hopefully we can get better access or better feedback. We go out into the community. When we did that back in my first term of council, we did not take away question period. We still had that. I think we could still allow for both, I totally, I get it. I mean, you want to look at different ways to try and engage the public. There's some that get engaged in different ways, so if anything, you want to try and give as many options as possible. And yes, I was part of the council when question period was actually at the end of the meeting, not at the start of the meeting, and I think that worked a lot better, so I still, I do agree with the, you know, the amendment to have it done orally. I still say that we should still allow for it to be kept in question period and do the quarterly meetings out in the public. I too will support this first reading. But as I said, I have a real issue with that being taken out. I know we spoke about it at the strategic planning meeting. I was there for that. I do recall the discussion. I know that, you know, there wasn't full support for that part. There was good discussion on it. So I still think that's up for discussion. So as I said, I will vote for this, but I do want to have that reflected hopefully in the next or the second and third reading, because as I said, I just think that it's harder to pull things away, to take things away. I think it always leaves a bad taste, and people most vendor perceive as having something taken away from them, so. That's, thank you.
Thank you. So I would just like to remind everybody here that we do have opportunities, when Tammy sends out information to answer back. A lot of times it's stated, please send your comments in by such a date if you want any changes. But we don't seem to do that until we get here before the camera and talking to the public and that. So definitely I'd appreciate if people started respecting our administration and following through if they have any suggestions or things they'd like to see by getting a hold of the administration and doing it that way. Councilor Valentino?
Mayor Smook, Councilor Oberdorfer and I couldn't hear Councilor Wong with the one section he wants removed. Was it, we were just looking for some clarification. Was it so that council couldn't participate virtually?
Anthony?
Yeah, it would be removing the virtual participation, which is section 18, participate in a meeting using communication facilities.
Okay, so that's what Councilor Oberdorfer and I thought it was. So I'm definitely not supporting that. It's 2025 and this is how we roll with communication process now. So I'm not supporting that, even going past the first reading. Thank you.
Thank you. I also feel that a good example is the April 14th meeting. There's not enough people here and not enough of us can even get on Zoom for that. So there's many other meetings. I like to thank my deputy mayors, Valentino and Fitzpatrick, that cover for me many times for meetings when we're out of town. And so if we didn't have the ability to come in, then we would miss a lot more meetings. So I definitely too feel that we have to have the need for our virtual meetings. So thank you on that. One final round, any comments? Okay, so this is the first reading by a show of hands. Who's in favor of this bylaw?
Aye.
Okay. It's carried. Call for adjournment. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Councilor Saw, all in favor? Sure.